Honorable colleagues, I am from Enugu State and I represent the people of an area of Woji River Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this motion is on the need for intervention in the current crisis of unpaid pension arrears threatening the lives of Nigeria's retired senior citizens. I move this motion on behalf of myself and my other colleagues, my 6 other colleagues. The House is aware that in the ongoing budgetary appropriations exercise, no provision was made for accrued benefits of pensioners under the Contributory Pension Scheme and the Defined Benefit Scheme. The House is concerned that the pensioners under the Contributory Pension Scheme who retired since 2015 have not been paid their pensions due to the failure of the federal government to contribute its statutory share of 5% to the Pension Redemption Fund in line with the Pension Reform Act 2014, amounting to a total sum of 285,946,669,881 naira. The House is also concerned that pensioners under the Defined Benefit Scheme, which include the police pensions, the Nigerian Customs Service, Nigerian Immigration Service, Nigerian Prison Service, Civil Service, and other parastatals, are yet to be paid their 33% accrued arrears amounting to about 174 billion. The House is worried that the delay in payment of pension arrears has resulted in the dire situations where pensioners are wallowing in penury, sickness, hopelessness, and regret for serving their fatherland diligently only to be abandoned by the government upon retirement. The House is also worried that if urgent steps are not taken to pay the outstanding arrears within the current fiscal year, the much applauded contributory pension scheme may collapse, leading to unimaginable consequences for the pensioners and the country as a whole. The House is convinced that if the federal government could release bailout funds to pay outstanding workers' salaries, it behoves on the government to do likewise for payment of pension arrears, which is its own direct primary responsibility. The House, based on the above, resolves to urge the federal government to provide emergency bailout funds to redeem all federal government pension liabilities. 2, the House resolves to mandate the Committee on Appropriations to liaise with its Senate counterpart to include the required funds for the payment of pension arrears under the Contributory Pension Scheme and the Defined Benefit Scheme of the federal government in 2017 budget estimates. The House also resolves to mandate the Committee on Pensions to ensure compliance and report back to the House within 4 weeks for further legislative action. I so move. Honorable colleagues, Mr. Speaker, you know this is a parliament where we care for our people. And that duty of care should be much more pronounced when we are talking about our senior citizens who have paid their dues and who, by virtue of their service, were responsible for sustaining the nation. We cannot, at a time when they have retired, go back on our responsibility to them. We ought to do better than this. And Mr. Speaker, this is not money that you dash. It's money earned. And it's just asking somebody to do his duty. Why on earth would you, by law, expect to contribute 10% and expect your employer to contribute 5%? And at the end of the day, your employer reneges. It's not real. It's not realistic. We should do better than that. So, Mr. Speaker, apart from the responsibilities we owe in ensuring through appropriation that we make provision for defects that we have found in the proposal, I believe it is important that I state to you the entire liabilities as has been neglected or ignored unnecessarily shelved in the proposal brought by the executive. And with regard to civil service pensions, Mr. Speaker, the total liabilities is above 55 billion. With regard to other parastatals, the total liabilities is 110 billion. With regard to police pensions, the total liabilities is above 6 billion. And customs, immigration, and prison pension is above 1.5 billion. So I think that where they have contributed, and this is the much acclaimed pension scheme, contributory pension scheme, that has been brought into place by law, by the Pension Reform Act. If we have brought that law into being, and it's been acclaimed nationwide and worldwide as the best that has happened to pensions, where you contribute, why on earth should we renege on it? As a matter of fact, since 2015, Mr. Speaker, those who have retired have not had any opportunity of taking advantage of that provision that is there. The monies they contributed, they cannot withdraw from it. They cannot earn from it. Money they have contributed over time. The reason for this is because we have neglected or ignored to make our own contribution of 5%, to activate their capacity to take that money. It's money earned, Mr. Speaker. It's not dash. Let us do our own responsibility. So I believe strongly that if there is any duty we owe to any Nigerian, particularly our senior citizens, is to make sure that since this estimate or this appropriation is contemporaneous, it is real, it's happening now, we ought to make effort to accommodate it. We just have to meet them 100% to make sure we relieve them. Some of them should be, they wallow in this thing, and as you get older, you're under pressure. As they age, they begin to need this more to take care of themselves in the hospital and all that. And we should not, by omission or commission, orchestrate any of them running into blood pressure or not being able to take care of himself or herself in the hospital. Mr. Speaker, I wish and I call on my colleagues to support this motion and ensure that it is passed. Thank you and God bless you.